farmer, that DC farmer, that DC farmer.
DC Farmer Show.
Is that DC farmer, that DC farmer, that DC farmer. Shay! Used to get my piece from AZ. Mary Jane is the case that they gave me. Trips from the West Coast stop real fast. DC Farmer show the masses how to grow grass. No till the method, be attentive, slow learner. The raw sheets turn that gas to a slow burner. Big Worm got the strains in variety. Jeff Sessions trying to fuck up the society. Cannabis community, rise up, eyes up. Fight for your right to light or eyes shut. Loud from the motherland, I'm getting high in stadium. Super gas, no clone, it grown with vibranium. Trichome chasers, council of the grower. Self-sufficiency, that's how we need our smokers. Alien dream turn Girl Scouts into soldiers. Smoking doja. Contact if you come closer. Every Monday, 10 to 11 p.m. Focus on that grow, watch the show with your BM. Comedy but interviews real lit. The DC Farmer Show educate real shit. The DC Farmer, that DC Farmer, that DC Farmer, that DC Farmer Show. Is that DC Farmer, that DC Farmer, that DC Farmer Show. Is that DC Farmer, that DC Farmer, that DC Farmer Show. Is that DC Farmer, that DC Farmer, that DC Farmer Show.
I want to grow my own shit.
Is that DC Farmer, that DC Farmer, that DC Farmer
DC Farmer Show.
Is that DC Farmer?
Heavenly OG, Girl Scout cookies, Alien Dream, Kim Dog, OG Kush, White Widow, Granddaddy Purple, Green Crack, Bubba Kush, AK-47, Trainwreck, Blue Cheese, Lemon Haze, Strawberry Cough, Super Silver Haze, Blackberry Kush, Master Kush, Skywalker OG, God's Gift, LA Confidential. Buckle your seatbelt, sit back, and enjoy the ride. All I wanna do is smoke my gas. You hating ass niggas never last. Why y'all busy dwelling on the past? I'm smoking on that pressure, counting cash. All I wanna do is smoke my gas. You hating ass niggas never last. Why y'all busy dwelling on the past? I'm smoking on that pressure, counting cash.
Regular day, this ain't no regular J. This that super unleaded, watch me set it ablaze. I don't even blame you niggas, y'all just set in y'all ways. Don't get jammed up and wake up with a tech in your face. This a marathon, Slim, don't get left in the race. Trump bitch ass, wanna see the death of my race. I'm a OG, that G.O. Sour smelling like B.O. Matrix loud, no Neo. Lane pop with my amigo. You can't blaze what I puff, nigga. You used to that huff, nigga. Lemon Haze had them stuck, nigga. Baby lungs can't fuck with ya. I'm in the building like fuck the system. I'm puffing ism, I'm a fucking menace. Cause I slumped the witness. When I smoke, don't get you high, so nigga mind your fucking business.
Slow down.
My bad, in high school I was in high class. Graduated with a 3.5. Now the teachers buy my gas. Ride pass, 12, middle finger erect. Fuck 'em. DC Farmer got a new strain, so we gon' puff it.
All I wanna do is smoke my gas. You hating ass niggas never last. Why y'all busy dwelling on the past? I'm smoking on that pressure, counting cash. All I wanna do is smoke my gas. You hating ass niggas never last. Why y'all busy dwelling on the past? I'm smoking on that pressure, counting cash.
Y'all niggas keep smoking
OG, Girl Scout cookies, Alien Dream, Kim Dog, OG Kush, White Widow, Granddaddy Purple, Green.
What up, y'all? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the DC Farmer Show. What up, chat? What's going on out there? What's up, J-Rock and everybody else tuning in out there? Got my co-host with me as always, Dean Poop on IG.
What's happening?
Yeah, man, I don't know what is happening this week. A lot of shit going down.
Hell yeah.
I hear pop-ups is getting raided again. Don't know what's going on.
I seen it on Instagram though.
Yeah, I'm glad that's the only place I did because I don't want to be around it. Not in them kind of situations. But I don't know, man. I just open. It's funny too, man, because I shout out to Troll Masters. I'm always trying to give them a shout out when I can. Trollmasters.agro on IG. Now, Troll Masters, for y'all that don't know, is environment control equipment. In other words, to help you control your environment in your grow room. Just having to open up my IG, and yes, this is what it is. This is who they are on IG, and this is what it looks like. All right, Troll Masters.
Got a good picture.
And it's taking over. Get hip. Don't be last to find out about it, man. Get at them while they they price is very affordable. If you care about your garden, you definitely want some sort of controlled environment in there to be able to control your environment while you're not in your grow room. So shout out to Troll Masters.
I'm telling you, that's the sweetest shit invented.
Hell yeah. And it looks like my internet service went out. Yep, y'all. My internet service went out, but we still gonna do this show. Man, this shit sucks. But anyways, Troll Masters. Shout out to Listen Visions on Tuesdays. Infused and confused. Infused and infused. Hold up. Infused and confused. That's what it is. Say it with me. Say it slow. Infused and what? And there it is. And confused. Whatever. I did, didn't I? I questioned myself a little bit there. All right, man. Sorry, chat, if I can't see what's going on. Like I said, my internet's going in and out. We was talking about the pop-ups getting raided.
Yeah.
Oh. Guess it's as good time as any to talk about my grow situation or my greenhouse or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Well, I done came to a decision, right? That I'm going to go ahead and cover my roof up, man, and bring some lights up in there. Because this weather out here is too much. Yeah. Too many cloudy days. I don't know, man. It's just not working out the way I wanted to work out. I know I can control my situation a little bit better by bringing the lights in. And I also know I've been growing for a while. Yeah. So I know how my plants is looking as opposed to how they should be looking. You know what I'm saying? So I see it with my eyes. So I figure I might as well go ahead and do something about it, instead of waiting to that last minute wishing I would have did it.
What type of lights you going with, though?
Well, I'm going to use my old lights. I got some HPS right now. Also got like 2 ceramic metal highlights, I think. So I'm going to use my old lights for this run, and then the next run I'm going to build my whole I'm building my own lights, out of lids and all that. So I'm gonna do a light kit build or whatever.
For sure.
To cover up both my beds. So that's definitely where I'm gonna go with that.
Damn.
All right, now hold up.
It still ain't came.
Yeah, it still ain't come on. Like I said, it could be because of the weather, man. Right. I don't know,
that's
man.
What else?
But it's one of them days today, y'all. Anyway, so yeah, that's my situation at the moment right now as far as my green room. My plants are too stretchy. They're not. I don't know how to explain it, but like I said, when you've been growing out for a while, you know kind of what to look for, what they should be looking like at a certain point of the grow. Yeah. So I just feel like I need more light intensity in there. I do have I just got a par meter to see how much light I'm getting into the green room, but I haven't been able to fucking test this shit because it's so cloudy, man.
Right.
So, you know, it wouldn't give me a honest read on a sunny day or whatever how much sunlight my greenhouse is getting. But I like right now, when I do use the pod meter, it doesn't even read above like 1 and some change.
Dang.
Outside because it's so cloudy, you know what I'm saying? So
It won't even
that
tell you
has
the
an
right
effect.
temperature, though.
Yeah, and that has an effect on how your plants grow and all that for sure. Now, the temperatures is alright though, you know what I'm saying? Because the way I had my room set up, if it gets too hot, the AC kicks on. Too cold, the heat, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's what the Troll Master is there for too. Like it controls your lights, controls your
Oh, it can do
air.
everything. I thought it was just the
Nah,
temperature. I
it's
ain't
like
know it
the
did
central.
everything.
It's like the central unit that you plug everything up
Oh,
to,
yeah.
man.
Oh,
And it
that's
just
sweet.
controls your
That's
humidifier, your dehumidifier, whatever you have in that room. Like, and it also has an emergency like exhaust. So if you have an exhaust system hooked up in your room,
Like overheating.
yeah, and it overheats and all that, you
Yeah.
got to set at a certain temperature, and if it reaches that temperature, it automatically cuts it on so you
Right,
can let
dang,
that.
that's tight, though.
Yeah,
That's
definitely. I
definitely
mean, and it
tight.
don't cost that much, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't always be in the garden when you want to, man. So that's
what-
I mean that's one of the benefits. Like that's one of the newer tools that I've used while growing. Cause trust me, man, the other way of growing, it's a job, man. You have to be there, man. You have to be there
24/7,
every day, man. You have to be there every day. If not 24/7, at least majority of the time has to be taking care of maintaining your garden. If you don't have some sort of control device in your room to be able to regulate your environment. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm not saying it's just Troll Masters. It's other equipments out there that does the same thing. My thing with Troll Masters is they're kind of new to the industry, so they're priced reasonably well, man. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
dope. That's dope.
if you want top notch right now for a great price for your grow room, I say go with them. Like I said, from how I used to grow to how I'm growing now, it's like having a partner with you there. You know what I'm saying?
Somebody to check in.
Yeah, somebody to check in on. Like right now, I look at my phone and see what the temperatures are. If my dehumidifier is running or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Or if I want to cut my dehumidifier on for whatever reason or
You
anything,
manual
I could do it
control it.
manually
Yeah.
on the phone. You know what I'm saying?
That's sweet. So what you
So-
gonna use the cover, the top with?
The what?
The cover the top, or you just gonna leave it like that?
Now I'm for right now, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna put a blackout tarp on the top of the greenhouse. So we're gonna rock that out for the first run, but I'm gonna rebuild the whole roof and make a pitch roof, so make it more solid at the end of the day. But for the first run, or maybe two, depending on how this winter is, because if it's too cold, I'm waiting for the spring. So I'm gonna rework the roof. Definitely modify the room more, so now I can concentrate my efforts with more technological advances that you can put into your grow room.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? To just grow that dank. You know, and if you're growing weed, right, and people in DC out here, if you are growing this cannabis tree, and for whatever reason, you get a harvest and you like, oh man, this ain't no good. This is some bullshit. Woo woo woo. Don't get discouraged, man. It's a lot of things that can happen while you are growing this tree and this plant. But the main thing you have to focus on, man, is
Really do it better.
Yeah,
every
just
time.
get better every time, and you're curing, man. The curing is fucking key, man. Because you could grow, man, this plant could be growing the whole time. You be smelling it every day. It's beautiful. I can't wait to smoke it. Man, you go cut that bitch down and cure it. And if you cure it too fast, if you cure it too long or too cold, too hot, it's so sensitive to curing that if you don't do it right, you're gonna have some garbage end product.
Gotcha.
Don't matter if you decided to grow synthetic or if you decided to grow organically. If you don't cure your cannabis right at the end of the day, you're going to have shit. So, like, as much as you also concentrate your effort into growing, you should also have a spot planned out to where you're going to dry your buds or where you're going to hang your harvest.
Right.
Like,
right.
make sure that whatever area, whatever room, whatever closet that you use, you can control that temperature, because the key temperatures that you would want, the safe temperatures, let's just say safe temperatures, and you could play with this number however you want. The safe temperatures will be 60 degrees and 60 humidity, 60% humidity, or 55, or
like
50-50.
semi-tropical.
But you don't want the shit to be anything under that or over that.
Gotcha.
And you want them, in my opinion, some people differ on this point. In my opinion, you want the long cure. The long cure meaning 7 to 14 days is possible. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you get to that 14-point mark and your plants haven't dried out all the way, you're going to have a beautiful fucking harvest, man. You're going to have something like, yeah. Sure. I mean, and I these are things that I learned through growing as well, too, man. Like, trying to figure out what the fuck I did wrong, you know, the process. Sometimes I might have stressed the plants too much. Sometimes it could just be the strains you bought. You know what I'm saying? The seeds you might have purchased or whatever you might have put into your media. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, don't get discouraged. Your next run will always be better than the last. Right. Yeah. Always. But you definitely got to be attentive to your garden. Hey, Daisy, man, what's going on with the internet today, man? Oh, shit. You got to have a special code for it or something, man. And I ain't let me put it up. Nah. I ain't receiving no network. Don't worry about it. It's what it is. So yeah, I mean that and that's like I was talking about, man. Like I tell people, man, don't get discouraged from growing. Like I said, man, your next run will be better than the last. When you first start growing though, unless you're one of those lucky ass people or whatever, like you're not gonna grow that dank on your first run, man. You know what I'm saying? Unless you did your fucking research from the beginning to end and you know what to do going into it. But if you're doing it just to be curious or just to see what happens when you throw the seed in there and all that, and you really haven't done your research, you're not really gonna get that dank, but you will get that experience of growing the plant and seeing the plant grow. Yeah, you know.
The do's and don'ts.
But today's show, man, is gonna be all about growing organically, and I guess the guest that I have today is Charm City Organics. I'm gonna call him up here in a second, but yeah, man, just we're gonna talk about how to grow this plant organically, or how he does it organically, and the benefits, and maybe the downsides of it. You know, get into the cannabis culture out here and how everything's going on or whatever, man. So without further ado, I like to introduce and thank at Charm City Organics for coming through tonight, y'all. Let me see your light, man. Don't keep going out. All right. Shout out to Super Cropper too for coming through with them blue cookies, man. Them Jones was fire, man. What did you said you liked the what? So you was a fan.
Super glue.
You was a fan of the super glue.
Yeah. This one I'm smoking on right now. The super glue.
Yeah.
And I'm loving it.
I kind of leaning towards the double drain. That was pretty.
You
good.
Like that?
Yeah, I like it. I like when the smell hits you in your face and it lingers, man. You know what I'm saying? Even after you light and it just lingers. So yeah, that's a plus for me, man.
Gotcha.
But without further ado, man, thanks for coming through. Won't you introduce yourself to the people, man? Let them know who you are, what you do, and how they can find you on IG.
Yeah, Charm City Organics at Charm City Organics on Instagram. I'm a grower here in DC. Thanks for reaching out to me.
Definitely.
Surprised when you did, man. So I'm like kind of gratified. But no, I guess what kind of got me introduced to growing was just smoking. You know, in DC is legal now.
Right.
That's everybody's next step.
And it's funny, a lot of what you were just saying was true because the first, pack that I grew was just, I ain't gonna share it with nobody. Like, I ain't want none of my friends to see it.
Man,
but
the first thing I grew, man, I called myself knowing, because, the buds came out pretty and all that. Yeah. I called myself knowing what I was doing, man. I stuck my nose in the bag after I thought it was cured. Man, I almost threw up, man. That's how bad it smelled, and not in a good way. Yeah. So I was like, man, I can't do nothing with this.
My first time growing was the worst because the whole time I had the plant, I got it real tall, got it nice and wide, was topping it, doing everything. Yeah. Come to find out it was a male plant. Put in all the work for nothing. Didn't even have no,
right.
seeds, the pollinate or germinate. Or, it was just
you put in all that work.
It
like,
was
oh,
just
with
a
the
blow.
buzz at.
Yeah, right. All pollen. I was blown.
Well, I guess that's you learn
I mean,
about growing,
yeah,
right?
I did.
So now
I
you know
did.
what the male plants look like.
Right now, it was to the naked
eye. And now with technology is getting so vicious now. Shout out to Farmer Freeman. You can test your plants, man. Like before you even get too deep into a top end, stretching them out and all that. And, now you can test your plants, man, for as little as $15, $30, however the kit. $10 a kit.
Dang.
Like, come on, man. It's not a bad investment for what you about to put into it. The work you about to put into it. So, like I said, technology is ever getting better with the cannabis industry.
Right.
You know, so
Definitely.
Every time I drop a pack of regular seeds, I get in touch with him.
Oh, yeah. Well, he definitely got my business this last time because I gave him my whole run, man. Because, if you're going to plant that many seeds, you want to know what you're dealing with, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't want to overcrowd your beds. And then, like, for my example, I'm in beds, right? So each bed, 24 seeds, right? So let's say I didn't test those seeds and I grew them seeds out in my bed all the way up to I could figure out if they're male and females. At this point, they're big plants. Right. So, you know what I'm saying? By the time you can figure out whether they're male and females, now I got 24 plants in there. Now I got to yank out the males. Process of elimination. You know what I'm saying? Right. Now my bed is uneven. You see what I'm saying? So this was the benefit of me dealing with Farmer Freeman to get my plant tested. So now I have a roll of all plants that's all females. So I don't have to worry about that. So I could take advantage of all the growth space that I have. You know what I'm saying? Right. And it's important, especially for you. Anybody that lives in DC that knows and growing, man, you need whatever space you could get, man.
As much as possible.
You need as much as possible, man. Absolutely. So I mean, what is your tell us your experience about growing? Like you said, even after your first time, man.
I guess to your point, why I grow organic no-till. For me, it was just looking at it on paper and saying, well, this is the cleanest way to grow. I mean, it's mostly I use soil and plain water. All throughout flower, I literally soil and plain water, feed it a little bit of coconut water.
There you go.
It's how you build the soil that's really important. There's some local companies I deal with. Well, one local company called Veterans Compost. Anybody locally who wants to like get grade A quality compost. Of all the ingredients, like that's the one thing I was told you
especially
can't
the earthworm cast.
Yeah,
and it's the price.
Their price is awesome. I think they charge like $7 for a cubic foot, man. Wow. Which is a lot of soil when you think about it, and they pre-mix it with earthworm castings. Because I think because of the law they couldn't sell the earthworm castings separately. So they pre-mixed the soil with the earthworm castings. There's a company called Builder Soil. If you go in there, I pretty much took their recipe and made it my own. So I use 1 part.
Well, don't be mad because Jeremy went and took the recipe from
Clackamas Cook.
Don't be mad. I know the story. Go ahead, though. Go ahead. I'm gonna cut you off.
No.
Because that wasn't his recipe to begin with.
1 part peat moss. You can go right to Home Depot and get that. 1 part lava rocks. I like to mix lava rocks and the marble rocks because lava rocks. Right. So I like to mix some other little rocks in it. 1 part compost. 3 minerals, 3 nutrients. Kelp, neem, oyster shell flour, gypsum basalt, and crab meal.
Wow.
I put it on a tarp. Me and my boys, we rake and shovel it. Put it in the bags. Put some cover crop on it. Let the cover crop grow in. Throw some earthworms in it. And I've been growing in the same bags for about 3 years now.
Damn.
And you can recycle the soil over and over and over again.
Yeah, see, that's the beautiful. That's the beautiful part about it, man. I didn't know you was doing no-till. I did reach out because you was on organic grow. I didn't even know it was no-till, man. So I could definitely attest to what he's saying. Like, this is going to be your most major part in your investment is building your soil. And using top quality to build. Don't just buy anything and say, boom, this is it. Because you got to remember, this is the soil that you're going to use for however many runs. Until you get tired of growing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to buy soils no more. Once you make this mix, once you build your soil up and you have a soil food web already in process and started, that's it. You don't have to mess with it no more. As soon as the harvest comes, you chop it off. You talk about it, man. I got you here as a guest. You about to let me know.
No, he's absolutely right. I mean, it's to answer one of your questions from earlier. The downside to it is I feel like it is a little more work than maybe if you were growing hydro.
Say it again though, cause see the people, when I tell people I grow no-till, man, you lazy.
Yeah,
I ain't nothing lazy about what I'm doing, man.
It actually requires more work because you want to be able to keep that soil constantly moist, right? And so to your point, I don't have a blue mat system or an automatic irrigation system yet. So every other day, I'm physically watering pots, right? And the idea is you want to keep that soil, that mulch layer, like constantly moist, right? That's why I'm able to only use plain water. I don't have to feed it with too much, right? At the beginning of flower, I'll give it a compost tea for the first 30 days. I'll give it a coconut water once a week. Other than that, plain water. From day 40 until I finish, I water with plain ice water.
Wow.
And I got put on, a guy who I met on Instagram actually put me on to using ice water after the first 40 days.
Okay.
And I noticed it with this last run, the terps, a lot of the frost, a lot of the things you want to see, it really helps like bring those expressions out of the plant.
But that's what they say helps with the lower temperatures too.
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
Now you said something earlier that was true too in terms of the curing, right? And I learned that the hard way by I grew some Jack Herer autoflowers, right? It was like 2 really nice plants, right? And I grew them, and I just assumed, well, because it's an autoflower and it's gonna flower on its own, I don't have to put a fan in the tent, right? And so I grow it, goes all through flower, cut it down, put it in the closet. Now I did have a humidifier in there, but I didn't have a fan in there, keeping the airflow going, right? Regulating the temperature. After about a week, mold, right?
Dang.
I think I've also cured some things the wrong way. So there's some guys I follow on Instagram. Their names are Team Terpene. If you look them up, they're up in Michigan.
Okay.
And I got a little tip from them in terms of curing. And I did it my last run, and I would argue of all my runs probably came out the best. So what I do right before I'm ready to cut it down, and I always like to give all my plants 48 hours of darkness before I cut them down.
Yeah.
And it's a tedious process, but every fan leaf that I can get my trimmers on, I trim off every fan leaf that I can, right? And before I heard, well, leave the fan leaf on, protects the terps, da-da-da-da. But if your environment's right, it doesn't matter as much, right? And what a lot of people will argue counter to that is the fan leaves, once they dry, are what kind of gives your plants that hay taste initially, or that hay-like smell.
The chlorophyll spills onto the bud.
Exactly. So I cut off all the fan leaves. Like right now I'm at like day 9 of drying, right? My hope is I can get to 14 days and they're not too moist, right? But just right, because I heard the same thing. Like you want to give it 2 weeks, right? And now the burping, right? Like the curing.
Right, the curing process.
The curing and burping is where you get a lot of people with a lot of different opinions. I've tried it where I just don't touch my jars for 10 days straight, leave them unburped for 10 days, and then after 10 days, you can burp it however you want to. But the way I like to do it now is the first week, I like to burp it twice a day for about 10 minutes. I literally shake it, burp it. Second week, once a day for about 10 minutes. The third week, however often you can get to it, and really after 3 weeks of curing, it'll be like quality smoke. You know what I mean? The kind of smoke you want.
Yeah, and that's definitely the process of doing it. But like with the curing process now, it's here goes technology again. It's getting better now.
Yeah.
Cause now we have Bovita packs,
the Integra Boost.
Integra Boost, yeah, because those are the ones I use. Integra Boost. They help with the curing process. Like with curing, you put them in a jar. You have the Integra Boost in the jars with it or whatever. Don't overstuff your jars when you're filling them. Leave a little room. But they definitely help with the curing process. You also have this new company that I seen pop up that got cure tubes. That's what they call them, cure tubes. So they look like barrels that have some sort of, temperature regulator that lets you know what the temperature is in the barrel, whatever. But it's like a food grade barrel, it looks like to me, where they keep the buds in now. And it's got little slots for Bovita packs or Integra Boost packs or whatever you use to put in there. So it seems to me like now it's getting easier with the curing process with using these kind of methods as well to keep the humidity into the jar at the right point.
I forgot to mention that. I used the 62%.
62% indeed, yeah.
Integra Boost packs.
And what I like about them, they got the little markers, man.
Right, it'll turn blue when
when it's time to replace it, man.
But somebody told me, the reason why some growers don't like to use the Bovita packs.
I already know. Go ahead.
They got soul in them. And they're really made for curing tobacco.
Yeah.
And it can sometimes, some people don't care, but it can, because of the salt that's in the packs, it can taint like the taste.
And some people can actually taste the shit, man.
Yeah, it can taint the taste.
Yeah.
Whereas the Integra Boost, that's the only one I've used, is mostly water. It's mostly water soluble with whatever they're using. So you don't have to worry about no taste rubbing off.
And they last long.
And they last long.
They last long.
I mean, I went through a whole, harvest, and the packs that I had in never went bad.
Yeah, they last for as long as you keep them in that jar seal or whatever. They last for a good time, man. And as far as the curing process, you also made a good point about that. It gotta be mindful of your environment, because when I cure, I kind of do a little bit different. Like, I chop the whole plant down and put it upside down with all the fan leaves, right?
Okay.
But I leave all the fan leaves for the first day.
Okay.
Then the first day I come through, I'm chopping all the big fan leaves down. Because, see, that just bought me an extra day.
I got you.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm trying to stall. I'm trying to stall my time out so everything won't... Because you got to keep in mind what your environment is, how hard and easy it is to control. Now, if you got a solid environment, like it's a wine cellar or something, man, you good. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But if you got to keep in mind your environment. It is hard to get to that 14-day mark, but the closer you get, the better your harvest you will have.
It definitely taught me patience.
Yeah. Like now, even growing now even taught me patience, because one time I was like, I'm ready to flip. I'm not even like that no more. I just look at the plants and they kind of let you know now.
Tall.
Like,
I want to be that tall, however long it takes.
Now I kind of messed up now too, because mine's are kind of up to my shoulders now, and I just flipped them, which means they're gonna stretch like twice the size that they are. Right. So I'm hoping they don't touch the roof on me, but I'm gonna throw another trellis down there and all that.
One other thing I do on the front end of every flower, I like to give, especially if they're intense, I like to give them 36 hours of darkness. Mm-hmm. And that,
before you flip them?
Right. Some strains just stretch, right?
Right.
But for even strains that stretch a lot, that does help. And I've noticed it with some very stretchy strains, that does help control the stretch.
Yeah, because I definitely heard about the 24-hour darkness and all that stuff too, but I never really tried it myself, I don't know, I just never tried it, but I might have to give it a shot one day. I don't see harm in it, because once you flipping it, that's it.
Yeah, so straight go from there.
I mean, but
something else I firmly believe about growing organically, no-till, however you want to define it, is whatever strain you're growing, because I'm a strain guy, right? Like, I'm always looking for new strains. Like, I firmly believe you get the best expression of that strain growing it the way it would grow outside.
Exactly.
The way it would grow naturally.
Even when you say you just feed them water, doing flour and some coconut water and all that. See, what you're doing there is you letting the plant. All right, so let's get a little technical. So what you're doing when you're doing that is, see, a lot of people like to use molasses and certain things, and they when they feed their plants or whatever. I use some things as well too, but like with the sugars and stuff, I stopped using, because the plant creates its own sugar. That being the exudate that it lets out, that it excretes through its roots to attract whatever food the plant is looking for. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like if you're feeding with product like molasses and other things like that, you're taking that job away from the plant. You're taking the plant from being able to express herself the way it should. In other words, you see what I'm saying? The plant gonna get lazy and fall back like, oh man, I ain't got to get the soil no sugar then. Right. You know what I'm saying? Then you're gonna run into like problems where the fungi and bacteria that you need in your rhizosphere is not gonna be attached to the root system that you need. You know what I'm saying? So with things like that, I learned in the process, is like you said, I fall back on certain things that I feed the plant. You know what I'm saying? Like, I use malted barley. I always use coconut water every other week or so. Definitely plain water. Aloe vera, I definitely use aloe vera when I'm feeding my plant as well. But I try to keep it to a minimum, man. As minimal as possible, so the plant, like you said, could express her true self. You know what I'm saying? Whatever strain it is you're growing. Especially if you love different strains, or if you seed hunting, or if you're pheno hunting. You know what I mean? Like, you want the plant to express itself. You want that true expression of what you're looking for to show right there. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to. I mean, I hate to say it, but if you're growing synthetically and all that, you don't want to hit it with the best crack out there in the stores. You know what I'm saying? And be like, oh yeah, my plant is doing good, but it's not really expressing itself through its. You know what I'm saying?
It's like fake.
Because it's always doped up. You know what I'm saying? The plant is always doped up. So you're not getting the true expression. The plant can't, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, like from growing and observing it, I believe that you're not able to give the plant the time to, or the way to grow, the way it wants to grow, the strain, that whatever strain it is, if you're crossbreeding, if you're looking for a particular trait in your plant, you know what I'm saying? You're taking it away if you're growing synthetically because you're not letting your plant be its true self. You know what I'm saying? If you're looking, if you're pheno hunting, if you're looking for a certain expression, this is what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with using synthetics and growing plants and all this. It's if you're doing it for yourself and for a hobby and all that. Where I find it the problem is if you're doing it to
give the people.
To give to people. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're to give to people that need it medically. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I see a problem with it at. Like, a lot of people bitching about California laws and all that right now because it's too strict. You can't use this. You can't. Well, fuck, man. They selling this shit to the mass public. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Fucking veterans, people that need this shit for real. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be feeding them poison and telling them you're curing them, man. Right. You don't want this shit to be like one of them pill commercials and shit.
With all the side effects.
Oh, man. You hear the side effects. You like, what the fuck am I taking this for then, man?
Take this new pill. You had butt bleeds. And
right. Diarrhea.
Like, why would I take this shit?
You be seeing a post on Instagram showing you PGR grown weed versus non-PGR grown weed.
I've seen that. I've definitely seen that.
I used to be insulted when people would look at my weed like, it's not, why is it not rock hard, you know, like super dense? And I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, I mean, smoke it, you know, see how you like it first.
But even at one time, I was ignorant to that, because at one time I used to think that's that fire. Yeah. You know, that's that shit. Oh, look, squeezing the motherfucking nugs that ain't even squeezing. Yeah. You need a grinder to break that shit up, man. So until you find out what was causing it, you know what I'm saying, where that's coming from. So you're like, yeah. So and not only that, man, like I said, man, I grew synthetically, so I know. Yeah. So what I'm telling you, the difference is night and fucking day, man, when you let the plant express itself. When you getting them true terpenes, and especially if you're fucking pressing rosin and all that shit, man, you getting the true evaluation of that plant, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, all natural, that's it. But the plant throughout, that's what you getting. So if you're pheno hunting and the shit came back like some shit, look for something else, because that's not it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're pheno hunting and you find some more fire, keep that plant. Mm-hmm. Fuck with that plant. Keep crossing that plant. You see what I'm saying? But with me, all right, here's another example, right? I keep this is a good example. We can go and compare apples to apples. My buddy with the Michigan Cup, the last Michigan Cup that just went. Yeah. So he grabbed a few cuts. You know, all the cuts, all them growers that grow synthetically and all that, the famous, you know, blueberries and all that, whatever, may have you, right? So I got my other buddy, Underground Organics. He gave me some Mountain Organic cuts.
I'm growing some of their stuff too.
But you see how he grows his no-till, the same organic fashion that we grow it. Yeah. So I'm saying this to say that when I put these clones into my soil, into my no-till soil, guess who took hold to the soil faster?
The no-till.
The no-till plant, the Mountain Organic plant took to my soil faster.
Yeah, because it's grown, it's
didn't deal with no grow shock. I didn't deal with that. I have to wait for the plant to bounce back. So what ended up happening is I got one section of my quadrant that's just ridiculously big, out of fucking control, and the other section of my clone quadrant a little smaller, shorter, and all that, because the shock that they went through from trying to recruit themselves from being in the soil and from the way they were used to being grown, you know, that took a hold. So that you know, the plant had to reprogram itself, should I say? You know what I'm saying? But you know, now everything's okay. You know, everything, the new growth is beautiful and all that. But these are the things that happen. These are things you have to keep in consideration when you like I said again, pheno hunting, or if you're looking for a certain plant or expression, or if you're getting clones from different places, man.
So it's funny you mentioned Mountain Organics, because I was actually going to talk about them. So part of why I grow the way I grow was influenced by them. He takes it even a step further. His recipe is even simpler than builder soils, right? He literally uses 1 part peat moss, 1 part compost, aeration 1 part, but he uses even a little bit less aeration than what's recommended. And the only amendment he uses is rock dust.
Yeah.
Right? And now this guy, he has some 100-gallon pots that are on their 30th cycle, right? So he's locked in. Like he's dialed in. But I buy his botanical tincture products too, right? Like the closest thing I have to a bottled nutrient are these tinctures that I bought from him. So it's 4 different ones: a citrus herb one, sprout tonic, a neem tonic, and a Aretha, which is basically a soap nut. It's an emulsifier, right? And I swear by those products. I haven't had any type of spider mite, any type of pest issue. The hardest thing I deal with are the fungus gnats, which you kind of can't control. You can't eradicate them.
I'm battling right now
because of the fact that you're keeping this soil moist, right? And that's what
making the perfect environment for them. Yeah.
So what I do occasionally do right before I go on the flower, 2 products, all of botanical tinctures products I like, but 2 products from builder soil that I always keep, always keep. They're craft blend, right? It's about 15 different minerals and amendments that you can use. And right before flower, I'll top dress with that. After every time I re-amend, I top dress with that. Literally, I top dress with that, lay down a little cover crop. As soon as the cover crop comes in, I'm ready to drop more seeds. You know,
so it's like a version of, you would say like that would be like a version of BioLive, in other words. Almost, right?
Yep, almost. Now to your point about clones, if you're gonna grow no-till and you're buying clones from other people, I always tell people be very conscious of how you receive those clones. Ideally, you want to receive just a rooted clone, not in any rock wool, not in any type of anyone else's soil, right? Especially not cocoa, because what I've had happen twice is I get some clones that someone gave to me in cocoa. I'll put them in my no-till pot. It'll be fine for the first 2-3 weeks. Plants will be growing perfectly, and at some point, the cocoa and the soil has a reaction, because I've had it happen twice where every bud site on the plant will die. Every single one, right? I've only had it happen when transplanting clones that were in cocoa into my soil. So there's little things like that you gotta be conscious of. When you're re-amending, right? You wanna always have worms in your soil. Always wanna have worms. Right, always. You always wanna keep a mulch layer. When you're defoliating and cutting off your fan leaves and whatnot, I just lay it right on the top.
Oh man, that's food.
You know? But if you're gonna take the time to build your compost and do all the work, buy a compost bin to keep it somewhere outside, and keep your own compost bin outside, because you're gonna spend money every time you flipping, you know, to re-amend your pots and what have you. But if you have your own compost supply on deck, it's really a matter of taking some dirt, rubbing an inch or 2 over top, laying some more cover crop, putting on some craft blend or whatever else if you want to. Grokashi I use as well.
Oh, do you? You use Grokashi?
Only when I'm re-amending. They recommend using it every 2 weeks. I don't, because I like to lay all the top dressing and then let it break down over time. Let the worms get to it. Let it break down. Let it actually get into the soil, and not constantly keeping, that cake layer almost. So yeah, it's you know, to your point, I'm not a know-it-all with this at all. This is just the way I know how to do it, right?
No, man, I mean,
you know a lot though. You know a lot.
This way of growing, to me, it taught me like a lot of things about growing cannabis, about growing anything in particular. You know, just like at one point in my growing lifestyle, everything was about feeding the plant. Everything was the plant. And what I didn't realize is that this plant's been around since before any of us. You know what I mean? I mean, before any of us, human beings was probably even alive.
It's resilient.
So, in other words, what I'm trying to say is that this plant could take care of itself.
Right.
So, when I started realizing it's not the plant that I need to take care of, but the soil. It's the soil that I need to take care of, meaning that I need to make sure the soil has a biodiversity of life in it, so the plant doesn't need or want for anything. So you know what I'm saying? So when people, like, a lot of people grow, right? And they be like, oh, I don't want no bugs in my room. But that's what we need to make our process work. Now, when you said it to me, it seems harder. It is, because if you're not always paying attention to your garden and any one of these so-called people call bugs in their room or whatever, you let one branch of bug get out of control, or one species of mites, whether it be good mites or bad mites or nematodes or whatever it is, if you have one particular species that can outdo, if it's out of balance, you're gonna have problems. So this is where the having a biodiversity of life in your soil is important, because they maintain their own balance of life in there. So it's never, you're always gonna have your good guys and your bad guys in there. Keeping it balanced and equal. And your job is to make sure you feed that soil and keep that organic matter on top of your soil, whether it be compost or earthworm castings or whatever. But it's important to have organic matter always feeding that bacteria and fungi in your soil. Hence, they feed the nematodes and the protozoas and everything else. You know what I'm saying? So this is how the plant gets its food. When they get eaten up or when they shit, you know what I'm saying? That's how the plant gets its nutrition in the rhizosphere. So that's why it's also important having this biodiversity of life. Like I'm gonna quote Jeff Lowenfeld. If a plant wants Chinese food, he's gonna send the right amount, carbon or exudates to the soil to attract that Chinese food. You know what I'm saying? If it wants Mexican food, it's what it's gonna do. You see what I'm saying? It's gonna attract a certain exudate or carbon through its roots to attract that particular bacteria or fungi that he wants. That wants to get consumed, and that attracts the nematode, and it's a food web. It's an ever so cycle of creatures eating each other's in that motherfucker, man. So it's like, I don't know. To me, when I look at it, man, you know the movie Men in Black. Yeah. I don't know if it was part 2 or 3 when they was that galaxy within the galaxy shit. That's how I see the soil, man. It's like a whole really different life in the soil, man. And once you realize that, growing cannabis, growing anything, a vegetable, a tree, a flower, it just becomes somewhat simple. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that it's easy work or lazy. It just becomes somewhat simple. Nature. No,
yeah. I agree. I mean, you're trying to literally like recreate the earth in this pot.
Exactly. You're trying to recreate nature, man. That's exactly what you're trying to do, man. Exactly. Like, seeing what's happening is we have all these commercial crops, right? And they use these fucking, everything they use is, they're not organic. So you have all these salts and chemicals spilling into the soil, and it's killing off our soil every fucking day, every week, every month, every year, on and on and on for years and years and years. And that's why we have fucking food shortage problems and all that other bullshit when you can't grow certain crops in certain area, because we're not taking care of our soil. We just killing it off every day. Like, I'm not trying to be on the righteous shit or anything, but this shit is facts. You know what I'm saying? Like, on a big scale, on a global scale, on an agriculture scale, these people grow. And by their method of growing, they're killing off the earth. Yeah. Every fucking day, slowly. Every day, they're killing off the fucking earth.
Now, growing weed, I be looking like, damn, I want to grow my own food, like.
I'm into that now, look, because I'm half Puerto Rican. So look, I got fucking peppers growing now that grow from Puerto Rico. Herbs, herbs called culandro. This other pepper called caballero peppers. Ají dulce, like shit that's from Puerto Rico. Since I have this fucking greenhouse, I could grow there too now. I'm like, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? So it just doesn't. Like, once you start really figuring out this growing process, it's not just about cannabis. Fuck, if you like shrooms, you can grow that too.
If you had anywhere to grow in the world, where would you grow at? Outdoors.
Oh man, that's a good question.
Like, where would you? Like,
somewhere in Africa.
I was about to say that. In one of them jungles.
Uganda.
in the jungle.
Uganda.
Where they haven't tainted the soil
I'm gonna
yet.
say Nigeria, man, because I got family out there. So I'm gonna say Nigeria.
I'm gonna say one of them jungles because you know
See,
they
I
be
know,
having.
I know. In Uganda, the earth is rich.
Man,
And
the
there's some I was
sun,
watching,
the
I hate
earth.
to quote Vice, but it was some place
Humidity,
in Africa.
everything. Right.
I think you was talking Swazi. Was it
Swaziland,
Swazi?
yeah.
Swaziland. Yeah, man.
Yeah, they said they got their
Hey,
purest.
but did you see them?
Drop the
Say
plant.
Did you
Yeah.
see them peoples was mad when they was coming in there grabbing their seeds?
Oh, man.
They was like, hold up, man.
I was mad about that.
They was mad about that, boy.
I remember.
Yes, I mean, but
I
that
also
definitely.
didn't like how some of the people were depicting the plant. Like they growing it, they were like, "I'll never smoke weed."
Yeah,
Change
they
your mind.
like
I'm
they feel like certain areas they
yeah,
went
like,
to, they chastise what they
cut it
making
out.
money off of.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
really,
like, cut it out.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, cut it out for real.
I'll never smoke it. It destroys your mind.
But it's funny though, cause some of those countries are still like that. They look at it as taboo. You know what I'm saying? Like my parents, my Puerto Rican side, I ain't gonna. My mom smokes, man. You know what I'm saying? My black side good, but my Puerto Rican side, they're very, very conservative. You know what I'm saying? So they look down at certain shit, and this is one of those things. And I'm like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
They call it creepy down there.
Yeah, creepy, man.
Creepy.
So I mean, man, I would have said Puerto Rico too. Like one of my favorite places would be to grow, would be out there too. But I think I would definitely go with Nigeria just because of the power of the sun out that motherfucker, man. You just got, I mean, man, you could probably grow some straight fire out that motherfucker, man.
By the Timbuktu.
Trees. Some real trees.
Boom.
But what got you into no-till, man? Because with me, it was
He
I
sound
tried.
like a country
Honestly, somebody I
boy.
learned from.
Cause I tried different processes till I found something that I liked.
It was really just somebody I learned from, and he had kind of been growing for years.
right.
Had gone through different processes, and he was like, "Yeah, man, this is the way to go." You know what I mean?
Right,
This is the way
right.
to go. And I mean, I hadn't led me wrong since. So
Man, I mean, when I found it, man, I kind of felt dumbfounded, man.
because it's so simple, you think that it's harder to do than what it actually is.
How much money I spent?
Yeah.
I paid on nutrients, man,
Yeah.
looking for the best.
Yeah.
Like Slim, I felt so dumbfounded, man. I was like, what? And then not only you see how the plant reacts when you do certain things, like when you say you give them coconut and all that.
Yeah.
You could see the plants react to that the next day. They love this shit, man.
Yep.
Malted barley, when I top dress with that shit and it goes into the soil, like you see all that stuff work. Just recently, I did a I wouldn't call it a tea, but more like a I don't know. Comfrey. I found some comfrey leaves, cleaned them out real good. I had like a bushel of it, cleaned it out real good. Make sure wasn't no bugs or nothing in there. Washed them all. But I knew I didn't have enough to cover both my beds, right? So what I did was I put them in the blender, and I blended them all the way up, and then I strained it into the water, and I did it again. Yeah. So I was kind of like getting the extract out of it, you know what I'm saying? So what I did with that, I did it until I couldn't do it no more, and no more liquid coming out off of it no more. So I put it in my water. I put some I definitely used aloe. I added a little bit of full power in there with it. Yep. And man, I just went to town with it. And Rita, I used Rita to emulsify everything as well too, man. So I had that in there too, and I just went to town with it, man. And I see the next day, man, them leaves was like, ooh, I was like, man, I don't know, man. And it's just something that I threw together because I knew I didn't have enough leaves. You know what I'm saying? Like comfrey, I didn't have enough to top dress with because that would be my main thing. Like with things like that, with bioaccumulators and stuff like that, what I like to do is use them fresh, and the leaves or whatever it is, and just break them up and throw them on top of the soil, man. You know, and that's another form of green organic matter. You know, you're feeding the bacteria and all that in the soil. But we didn't talk so much. My engineer about to cut me off without saying nothing. They said if I don't cut it off. So why don't you go ahead, man? Thanks for coming tonight, man. I didn't even know you was a no-till guy. You got me running my mouth tonight, man. So thanks for coming through, man. Oh, before you go, man, tell the people one more time where they could catch you, because you said you was a consultant too, man.
Yeah, at Charm City Organic. So
if you want some organic consulting, please.
I come through. I'll survey your space, tell you what you need to spend. Generally, I'll start people out with some clones of something I got going at the time. Help you build your soil. Yeah, so at Charm City Organics.
And reach out to him, man. Yep. Follow his page, and if you want to get started, that's your man. Cool. All right, y'all. That's it, man. See y'all next week on the DC Farmer Show.
I want to grow my own shit.
Is that DC Farmer, that DC Farmer, that DC Farmer.
DC Farmer Show.
Is that DC Farmer, DC Farmer. Shay! Used to get my piece from AZ. Mary Jane is the case that they give me. Trips from the West Coast stop real fast. DC Farmer show the masses how to grow grass. No till the method, be attentive, slow learner. The raw sheets turn that gas to a slow burner. Big Worm got the strains in variety. Jeff Sessions trying to fuck up the society. Cannabis community, rise up, eyes up. Fight for your right to light or eyes shut. Loud from the motherland. I'm getting high in stadium. Super gas, no clone, it grown with vibranium. Trichome chasers, council of the grower. Self-sufficiency, that's how we need our smokers. Alien dream turn Girl Scouts into soldiers. Smoking doja. Contact if you come closer. Every Monday, 10 to 11 p.m. Focus on that grow, watch the show with your BM. Comedy but interviews, real lit. The DC Farmer Show, educate real shit. The DC Farmer, that DC Farmer, that DC Farmer, that DC Farmer Show. Is that DC Farmer, that DC Farmer, that DC Farmer Show. Is that DC Farmer, that DC Farmer, that DC